Welcome to the Greenbelt Introduction to Six Sigma. Please log in.
So, you want to learn about Six Sigma, do you? Well, you've come to the right place. I'm a believer of learning by doing, so I'm going to put you to work. I have a case for you to help me with. It's the commercial loan case. Now let me tell you a few things about this case. The commercial loan sales manager came to me with a concern. Her group provides commercial loans to domestic and international business. Customers have been complaining to the sales team about not receiving the loan on the date requested. They don't want the loan early or late. They want their loan provided consistently on the requested date. That's where we come in. That's enough for now. I'll give you more details later. I know you're new at this, so first I want to show you how to find your way around. I hope you're ready to learn about the Six Sigma DMAIC process, because now it's time to get down to business. You're going to start with define and find out what this customer really wants. Let's look at the facts. Remember the commercial loan case I told you about in the introduction? Well, things are heating up. The commercial loan sales manager sent an email to commercial loans operations. Commercial loan sales is concerned that our competitors are believed to be more consistent about supplying money on the request date. That has led to declining sales and a great deal of concern. That's where the DMAIC process comes in. In the define phase, we can help the operations people scope out the size of the problem, so to speak, by identifying some issues that are critical to meeting commercial loan sales expectations. Here are the 3 steps of the define phase. Step A is to identify your customer CTQs. CTQ means critical to quality. In other words, what does your customer think is essential, and how do you set up a project to meet their desires? Step B is to develop your team charter. This documents the scope of your project, the business case, and the role of the team members. Step C, the final step of the define phase, is to build a map of the current process that will help you target a specific area for improvement. Now click Next to get your assignment. So your first job is to define what the customer wants and then start finding areas for improvement. I'll turn over the teaching of define to a good friend of mine, Angela Davis, PhD. She's an expert on this phase, and you'll learn a lot from her. Good luck, and I'll see you later.
Thank you, Siggy. Hello there. I'm Angela Davis. Friends say I'm a real people person, and I tell them I have to be. It's my job. Getting to know people and what they want from a business is what I love to do. So, let's get to know the commercial loan sales organization and help them use Six Sigma to meet and exceed their expectations. Click Next to get going. We will begin by determining how to determine what the customer wants and use it as the foundation for developing the project goals. Click Next to continue. The objectives for Step A are to identify a project's CTQs. In order to be able to figure out what is critical to quality for your customer, we will need to identify the project's customers. Once we know who the customer is, we will analyze customer data to determine project CTQs. Then we will take the CTQs and define and build a process product drill-down tree to figure out the process that needs attention. Now we are ready to begin. Remember when Siggy introduced this case in the course overview? He let us know that there was a concern at the commercial loan sales organization. They are hearing from their customers that they are not confident of GE's ability to to provide the funds on the request date. This has a negative impact on commercial loan sales. The commercial loan sales manager is anxiously awaiting our expert advice to help her move her process towards Six Sigma. The first question we need to answer is, who is the customer? The customer is the person who receives the output of the process. Once we learn who the customer is, we will be able to determine what they want. There are two basic types of customers, the internal customer and the external customer. An external customer is the person or company outside of GE that requires the process output. On the other hand, an internal customer is a person who depends on the output of your process to refine or create the final output for the external customer. Therefore, we have customer-driven CTQs, which are defined by external customers, and process-driven CTQs, which are typically driven by internal customers. Let's look at our case study to figure out who the customers are. The commercial loan sales organization has called upon us for help, but they are not the true customer. The customers are the many businesses which rely upon GE for loan services. Now that we know who the customer is, the next question we need to answer is, how do we finally determine the customer's CTQs? Since critical to quality, or CTQ, characteristics are determined by the customer, our job is to explicitly define the CTQs. So, the next step is to determine what the customer really wants. There are several sources of information or existing customer data that can be gathered to determine exactly what the customer wants. Business goals, customer surveys, complaints, benchmarking data, executive-level discussions, and job-specific discussions all represent common factors that can be prioritized to find out what the customer wants. The customer data collected, then, will lead to the project's CTQs. Take a look at this email from the commercial loan sales manager that Siggy forwarded to me. Now remember that CTQs originate from the customer. Anyway, read the email to see if you can identify an opportunity to use our Six Sigma process to delight the customer. Then, click on the bullet point in front of the paragraph that contains the opportunity for a Six Sigma project. Once you have chosen a bullet point, click Done to continue. Correct. You chose the correct answer. Clearly, the third bullet is evidence of a potential project opportunity. It should be clear from this that on-time delivery of funds is an area in which GE is found to be lacking. You're doing great so far. You have successfully determined two very important components for this case: the customers, who can include any business needing funds, the CTQ, which is on-time delivery of funds on the customer request date. Now, we are ready to create a process product drill-down tree to identify product and process CTQs and complete Step A. Again, congratulations for a job well done. So now that we know what the customers want, we are about to begin examining what we can do internally to meet those desires. Six Sigma's focus on improving internal processes to meet customer requirements can be further explained using the formula Y equals F of X. On the left of the formula is what we call the big Y. It is equal to the customer's CTQ. Therefore, it is the desired outcome of Six Sigma. In the commercial loan case, the big Y is on-time delivery of funds on the customer request date. The right side of the equation explains that this desired outcome is a function of internal processes or product characteristics that we can control. We call those process variables or characteristics X's. And it is our job to find an X for the commercial loan case that will contribute to achieving timely delivery of funds. Depending on how broad your Y is, you may have to subdivide it into more manageable components. We often refer to that as drilling down from the big Y to little y's. Drilling down to a little y will be part of our task throughout the define and measure phases. We will get to the X's in Analyze. Click Next to get started using what's called a product process drill-down tree. Our next job is to define and build a process product drill-down tree. A definition of a process product drill-down tree is a way to integrate CTQs and business strategy. It helps to determine how customer CTQs become project CTQs and ensure that what we are addressing has a genuine impact on the customer. Remember at the beginning of this course, Siggy mentioned that we would be learning by doing. Well, get ready, because that is exactly what we are about to do. We are going to build a generic product process drill-down tree. First, identify the high-level CTQ covered by your project. Next, break this CTQ into the component lower-level CTQs or processes. Then, identify the product groups or process steps which form the next logical way to subdivide the project. This process continues until it reaches the scope of interest for our project. The number of levels you drill down will depend on both the complexity of the higher-level processes and the scope of our intentions to implement improvement through our Six Sigma project. Now, take a look at how the commercial loan case CTQ is illustrated in a process product drill-down tree. In order to deliver funds, there are two processes involved. The loan approval process has a number of components, which we will examine later. It must be complete before the second process, disbursement of funds, can take place. We use electronic funds transfer with 98% of our customers, so we can eliminate the disbursement of funds as the primary target for this project. Therefore, we will be focusing on the loan approval process. We now have taken the customer's CTQ, on-time delivery of funds, and flowed it right into the project's CTQ, speed up the loan approval process. That is, if we can decrease the total time and variation for the loan approval process, we will be able to deliver funding to the customer more consistently around the date funding is requested. By completing the process product drill-down tree, you have finished step A of define. Now the project is taking shape. Spend a moment reviewing what you have learned. Drag and drop the topics below to the above boxes containing the correct meaning. When you have finished, click Done. Congratulations, your answer is correct. Businesses needing funds are the customers. Their CTQ is on-time delivery of funds. The process product drill-down tree illustrates how the customer's CTQs becomes the project CTQ. By developing the CTQs in this manner, we make sure that the project will have direct impact on the customer, where it matters most. Believe it or not, you are finished with step A of define. You identified the project's CTQs, which means you identified the project's customers, which ensured a valid source for the voice of the customer, and analyzed the voice of the customer to determine the customer's CTQs. You also discovered that using the process product drill-down tree allowed you to integrate the customer data with business strategies and flow the customer's CTQs into the project's CTQs. For the commercial loan case, we learned that businesses needing funds are the customers. Their primary CTQ is for on-time delivery of funds. They need the funds on the agreed-upon date in order to pursue their business strategy. The product process drill-down tree allowed us to flow this CTQ into the project CTQ, which is to reduce the loan approval cycle. Congratulations! You are now ready to develop a team charter, step B of define.